Your baby daughter's in hospital.
And the president of Manchester United didn't believe the empathy don't exist. The Glazers, they don't care about the club.
What would your message be to Manchester United fans?
The fans, for me, will be always in my heart.
He was deliberately provoking you.
I didn't felt that he had respect for me.
Cristiano Ronaldo's 12 rules to life.
Why not? Imagine the rest of the rats, they're going to criticize me too.
I'm just trying to work out how Wayne Rooney could hate you even more.
They only speak about the black sheep, which is me.
They're trying to force you out.
Yes, not only the coach, but the other 2 or 3 guys there around the club. Yes, I feel betrayed. If you don't have respect for me, I'm never going to have respect for you.
You think England have a chance?
I have a chance beside Portugal, in my opinion.
That's it, you retire, right?
Yeah, I retire. 100%.
Welcome back to Straight Facts. Part 2 is out tonight. Ronaldo with Piers Morgan. And I think tonight's the juicy one. Everybody cares about the slamming of Ten Hag, the disrespect Ten Hag has shown him. More talk on the Glazers. I think this is the juicy bit. Part 1, it was a little bit meek. It was almost the warm-up, really. You didn't need the first 45 minutes. This is the 45 minutes people want. We're touching on that. We are touching on Arsenal being my title favourites moving forward, top 4 debate, and England's chances, because it's going to be the last time me and Lee speak before the World Cup kicks off, of course. Smash the like and the share button, my people. But Mr. Lee Gunner, welcome back to the terrace, my friend. How you doing, bro?
You.
Yes, sir, you were still on mute. Sorry.
Experienced streamers and all that. Like, it's not like we've had channels for years, Terry.
I know.
I'm very good, man. I'm very good. Looking forward to the show. Big up to everyone in here, man. Yeah, this Ronaldo story has dominated pretty much every single news outlet and all the coverage all over the media, like mainstream, even our media, like what we do. I've been talking about it. You've been talking about it. Everyone's talking about it. But I think this is what he wanted. Like, this is why he done it. Like, let's be real, Terry. And I think that I know we're obviously going to get right into it, but I just think that, mate, this guy's been finished for a very long time, and I think that he can't accept he's finished. Like, he's looking at Messi, thinking when Messi's still doing it at PSG, Messi scored again last night. Argentina are flying at the moment, and he can't accept that Messi's going to beat his goal scoring record. He's probably going to beat his Champions League record. He's going to beat quite a few more records. And he's 2 years younger than Ronaldo. Ronaldo's never been told no. So now he's being told no, he don't like it. So what he's done is he's come out with, oh, they didn't do this. They wouldn't allow me to do this. They wouldn't do this. It's this guy, I don't respect him. I don't even know who he was. I mean, come on, mate. You're making yourself look a complete idiot. Yeah, and all of that because he can't just accept that he's finished. Take one for the team. Look at Ibrahimovic and how he's been doing it at AC Milan, doing team talks, jeering up the players, getting everyone on side when he was injured. Come on, you can go out there and win the league, lads. This guy gets told, come on for 1.5 minutes, walks down the tunnel. See you later. Like, rude, man.
Do you know what's interesting? You say there's so many bits to digest from this. The first bit for me is I don't know who he is, talking about Ralph Rangnick. For me, well, you did know who he is because you were like, he's a sporting director. So in your own sentence of I didn't know who he was, but I didn't know who he was, but I know he's a sporting director. Therefore, you knew him. This is the thing with Ronaldo fans. This whole thing, you know, some people vote in politics based on single policy voters. He's pro-life, so I'm going to vote for him. He's pro-choice, so I'm going to vote for him. You know, as an example, it's for me, a very weird way to live your life. I'm about balance, and there's elements of this interview where I think that's fair dues to you, Ronaldo, for calling out the Glazers, the lack of investment in technology, moving the club forward. You know, bringing Manchester United into the 21st century. That stuff I completely and utterly agree with. I think for me, it's then spilled over though. When I've criticized what he said about Ten Hag, when I've criticized what he said about Ralph Rangnick, people are like, "How dare you call him out? He called the Glazers out." I'm like, bro, there are Man United fans that I like that have called the Glazers out, but I bet there's other elements of their personality that I wouldn't agree with, right? And Ten Hag, the Ralph Rangnick bit is part of it. One of Rangnick's first sort of major reports into the Glazers was, you can't progress with Ronaldo as your main striker. Too old, can't play the way that you want your new manager to develop a team. You know, high press, high energy up front. He just can't do it at 37. Ronaldo didn't take that well, so Ronaldo's on a campaign to try and destroy him. I've got a feeling tonight he's going to try and do the same thing to Ten Hag. the way Piers Morgan has known about this for a while. This isn't just a random interview. Piers Morgan and people like him, the Souness's of this world, they've been pushing this narrative for months now. That in 5 years, the world won't remember Erik ten Hag and they'll remember Ronaldo. Therefore, Ronaldo should rule the roost. They are promoting player power. And the craziest part about it is there isn't a single Man United ex-pro, ex-manager, current player, fan that I've come across who promotes the idea, no matter how big the player is, that they get listened to more than the manager. And the tweet that Piers Morgan put out yesterday saying that United are awful under Ten Hag, we haven't progressed, we're not competitive, we're terrible with him. It's almost a case of that's completely ignoring the facts of the matter. We've improved from last season till this year, no doubt. And we've been far better this season in most games when Ronaldo's been missing or not starting compared to when he's played. And all I see Piers Morgan doing is using Ronaldo for me. He is using Ronaldo to elevate his status online, to grow his new channel after leaving ITV. And he's used him. And the way he spoon-fed him questions, there's been no challenge to any of his claims. For me so far, it's been a little bit like, I'm going to justify myself and call everybody else out. And the biggest part of it that I thought was hilarious was how he's called in. I didn't even react to it this morning. I was driving home from Manchester back to Surrey today in my car. And I didn't say this on my video this morning, but I thought about it. I was like, he's calling the media scumbags. He's calling the media scumbags and whatnot. But he's done an interview exclusively connected to this video with the Sun. Let that sink in, Ronaldo. You're calling the media scumbags. You're calling them rats. But the very
that. We're the rats, mate. How's he calling the rat army out? Like, what's that all about?
I did see that. But I mean, I put a poll out today, and I basically put this out, and I said, "Is Ronaldo right to criticize Ten Hag and the Glazers?" 35% of the audience so far have said yes to both. 62% have said just the Glazers, and 3% have said just Ten Hag. Can you understand? What do you think his logic is behind going after Ten Hag?
Because he's butthurt that he didn't get in the team and that they're winning without him. I don't think he's won a game when he started this season. I don't think Man United won a game he started. I may be wrong. If they have, it's only one. Yeah, and this is the thing. Ten Hag's come in. Yeah, this is very similar to the Ozil situation, by the way, when Emery had that issue with Mesut Ozil, and then Mesut Ozil was going on social media and putting up polls. Are we going to win tonight, guys? And Ozil turned into the biggest football Twitter account out there. Yeah, they can't accept that their decline is it's over. They've had their peak. They're finished. And like, let's take Ozil out the equation, but it's very similar, Terry. Yeah, because they're both very influential online. They've both got mass followings, mass cult followings. Yeah, their fans will go from whatever club they're at to the next club when they go. Yeah, because they follow the player, not the actual football club.
Yeah.
And when they speak, most people will just believe them because of the mass following that they have. Yeah, you know, like, and I see when he's calling out Ten Hag, I think, like, mate, number one, yeah, he sat there and said, I'll give respect if people give respect to me. No, mate, he is your boss. Yeah, he is your boss. You are paid to do a job at Man United. If that job is to sit on the bench for 90 minutes, so be it. You are paid £500,000 a week. He is your boss. It's a squad game. You're not the man you were 10 years ago, mate. Yeah, and if Ten Hag, like, when he's sitting there, I thought it was so rude when he said, well, when people are sitting there going, nobody will remember Ten Hag and blah, 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 and everyone will remember. What's that got to do with anything? Yeah, at the end of the day, Ten Hag is the manager of Manchester United Football Club, right? He has a job to do. And if he doesn't do that job to the best level, or to the level that the Glazers want, or the hierarchy want, he will get sacked. So what, just because you're Ronaldo, I have to go against everything that I want to do just to suit you, mate. You're not going to be part of that in 2 years' time. You might not even be part of that ever again.
And bro, that's what's being missed in all of this, and it's not being discussed in all of it when it comes to the Ten Hag element. And the Ten Hag element is the only area where I'm so far, and I haven't heard the full context, and I could change my mind, that I'm not with Ronaldo on. I think when I say not with him, I want to see I want more detail on the stuff to do with his daughter being sick and why the club didn't believe him. I want to actually, again, I think in the clips that we've seen, I would expect more questioning from Piers Morgan around.
Sorry to cut you off there. Right?
Go on.
Wasn't he out clubbing during pre-season? When he spotted in a nightclub during pre-season?
I don't personally remember. No.
Yeah, I'm sure he was in a nightclub. Yeah, during pre-season. So when he's sitting there saying about what happened with his baby, and listen, that's tragic, mate. Yeah. And then 3 months later, the other one's ill, his other kid's ill. Yeah. But mate, no disrespect. You were out clubbing. I swear I've seen pictures of him in a nightclub. It was all over the, like, he's missed pre-season, he's out clubbing. I'm sure it was him. Yeah. And Terry, we've only got his word on that. Yeah, that's literally only his word.
The thing is,
They
though, as well,
didn't believe me.
no,
What
I
made you
get-
think they didn't believe you?
I get that, and that's the questions that Piers Morgan should be asking. But where Piers has done a bad job in this interview is that he has not challenged the claims for balance. He has just accepted everything that has been posed to him. We saw that very much with Harry and Meghan Markle when they were with Oprah. For me, I'm not an overt royalist. I wasn't angry they did it. I just sat there and I looked at it from Oprah, the point of view of Oprah, and I thought, why wouldn't you challenge what they've said? Because for me, when I grew up, there was a guy that was renowned for his interviewing technique of doing that, Martin Bashir. Martin Bashir would listen to you, but he would challenge elements. He wouldn't just. What this feels to me is ideologically driven. So it's I want the message to be what you're putting out. So and you're saying what I want to hear. Therefore, there's going to be no challenge. I'm not going to dig a little bit deeper. And just on Ten Hag, look at the middle comment in here. Someone sent me these screenshots the other day. So this was Ten Hag in the summer. This was on the 11th of July, where he said, so he's not with us. That's due to personal issues. We are planning with Ronaldo for the season. That's it. I'm looking forward to working with him. This was a constant theme over the course of the whole summer from Ten Hag, to be respectful, to be polite. There were murmurs that he would prefer Ronaldo to go and a new striker to come in. But that's purely for longevity. That's purely because Ronaldo just isn't the player that he was. And he may have scored 24 goals last year, but we were largely worse with him outside of the team than in it. Brilliant in the games against Tottenham, both home and away. Even though we lost the game, brilliant away against Arsenal in the latter stages of the season. But as a general rule, we've been a better team without him. There's no doubt about that in my mind. And I just think that from my perspective, the majority of this interview is very, very disappointing. The only elements that I think are good is the Glazer part. And of course, I want to know if my execs have disrespected your daughter being ill. I want more detail. If all we get is what we already know, and that's I don't feel like they believe me. And Morgan just says, I think that's disgraceful. My challenge is, well, where's the further questions? What did they do? What was their actions? What did they make you think? What is it they said or did made you believe that? That's what we need to know as fans. And so far, we haven't seen a lot of that, because the other side of it, which is kind of being ignored now, which Piers should have asked him, and hopefully he does tonight. And that's, well, there were lots of reports that your agent was out all summer looking for a new club. So maybe the club felt that your reason for not being there for the whole preseason wasn't solely to do with your daughter. And if I'm being honest, that's where my mind's at right now. Maybe in the beginning, it was my daughter's got bronchitis. I'm going to stay with her until she gets the all clear. But the all clear, in my opinion, maybe it didn't. So maybe I'm wrong. But this is what I would challenge. If I was interviewing him, it would be, well, how long did the bronchitis last? How long until the all clear was given? There were rumors, Ronaldo, that your agent was looking for a new club all summer. Was that going on at the same time? Could that be, Cristiano, the reason why the board were challenging some of your points or some of your reasonings for not being there? That, for me, is what a journalist should do here. But what they've done is to complete and utter stitch up to make Man United bad at every single area.
Sorry? Just blowing smoke up. Piers Morgan's just blowing smoke, and it's worked for both of them. Because he's got everyone talking about Ronaldo. Yeah, so Ronaldo's happy because everyone's talking about him now. Yeah, and he knows his adoring fans will back anything he does anyway. Now it's a problem for Ten Hag. Yeah, and then you've got the other side of that. Piers Morgan hasn't got a job on ITV anymore, sets up this Talk TV or whatever it's called. And now that's, boom, the most explosive interview in living history, blah, blah, blah. Well, it's not the most explosive interview. It's just him sitting there telling you this, this, and this in the hope that everyone goes, oh, yes, Ronaldo. Oh, poor Ronaldo. Poor Ronaldo. Poor Ronaldo. Mate, that guy is a joke. Yeah, he's an absolute disgrace. Yeah, and the thing is, people are sitting there and like, I know Man United's training ground's falling apart. I know Man United's stadium's falling apart. I know the leaky roof and there's rats on the pitch. Yeah, I've known all of that. He sat there and said the facilities were still the same as when I was 21. Well, didn't you phone Fergie and ask before you signed again? Didn't you phone Ollie up before he signed you back? Didn't you speak to Bruno and say, Bruno, what's the training ground like these days? Don't come out saying all of that. Yeah, and making that as an excuse. Oh, Man United are stuck in the mud. We know they're crap. We know they've been crap for a decade or more. We know that the facilities are ancient. Now that's being used as an excuse to back his argument to they've disrespected me. That, mate, you're a footballer getting paid £500,000 a week to kick a ball around, right? Yes, you've got the most amount of goals in living history, unless you want to get all Pele's goals from the war and all of that out. From the army days. Yeah, you've scored 700 plus goals. Nobody can take that away from you. There's a way to go out, and he's not doing it gracefully. He now wants to come out swinging for everyone, yeah, because he knows that it's the end. He can't accept that this is the end, right? And regardless of how many goals he scored last season, Terry, yeah, right. The funny thing is, he weren't sitting there calling it out last season. He weren't calling out the Glazers, yeah. Like he has a direct link to Fergie. We know that they talk. He's got a direct link to Bruno Fernandes. We know that they played for the national team together. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, I'm sure he still speaks to him. He signed him. So he could have quite easily asked all of these questions about the facilities, could have asked all these questions about what are the Glazers like these days? You know, what are they going to do on and off the pitch? Like, are they going to do this? Are they going to do that? These are questions footballers would normally ask, right, when they're signing for a football club. Oh, what's the plans for the summer window? What's the plans for the January window? Am I going to be playing every week? What is this? Who's going to be in the squad with me? These are genuine questions that footballers will ask, you know, when they go and sign a contract at a football club. So why has it taken for him to get binned out of the football team, you know, and sitting on the bench every week for him to come out and highlight all this? Because he weren't doing it when he was scoring last season. Weren't doing it when he was playing last season. And we see some little bits last season. I think it was Southampton where he got subbed off against Southampton and threw the water bottle down. Yeah, and then the cameras panned in on him, and him and Ten Hag were having words. You know, that was last season because he got subbed off. Because again, it's all about him. He wants to play every minute of every football match. Yeah, that's cool. I get that. I get that you want to keep scoring goals. But if you're a hindrance to the football team, the manager ain't going to keep you on the pitch, mate.
I agree. So some of the super chats and comments here. This is a real interesting comment from Lynn I wanted to focus on, where she says, Terry, what happens if Ronaldo is right and Ten Hag in a few months' time starts throwing some of the Man United players under the bus? Well, this is the thing. We have to wait and see exactly what he said. But let's just say that Ronaldo, Piers, and all these guys are right, and Ten Hag isn't the correct guy for the job. You still don't allow it's. I've been talking about this since the Jose days, and I wanted Jose gone. And that was, you have to defend the position of manager. The manager always has to be allowed to be in control, and the club has to ensure that position is seen as powerful above all else. Because whilst player power continues, the problem that you have, with it continuing is this: at some point, player power will oust the right manager, because the right manager is trying to make the players work harder. The right manager notices there's a problem in the dressing room, whether that problem's attitude, whether that problem is ability, whether that problem is just old age taking someone away. Look at the situation with Garnancho. A lot of people have been angry that Bruno and Ten Hag have spoken about the fact that that the player was had a bit of a bad attitude in pre-season, start of the season. That's why he wasn't playing. But the player doesn't have an issue with that, because he's gone away, taken the feedback, worked hard, come back, and has got four or five starts in the last few games, and is killing it. For me, it's really, really important for us to ensure that the standards at the club are right, irrespective of whether a manager goes on to have a bigger and greater career than Cristiano Ronaldo. It's the precedent that's got to be set. Because based on that logic, it means if you hire a manager where there's, say, 3 players in the squad, so say Pep Guardiola leaves and a new manager comes in, and you've got 3 or 4 players in that Man City squad who have achieved more on their CV than the new manager, that logic dictates they don't have to listen to that new manager. If we start setting that as a precedent across football, big clubs are going to fail regularly, because it isn't very often that a new manager comes in who's got more success than some of the most successful players at big clubs. That means Real Madrid pretty much, how can they find any manager to ever manage this current crop of Real Madrid players? Because these current Real Madrid players, a lot of them have got 4 or 5 Champions Leagues. Does that mean that no manager in the world can tell them what to do? It doesn't make sense when you boil it down to actuality for me.
Can I highlight a comment? There's a comment in here that says, I'm genuinely interested to see if this was at Arsenal, if Lee would have the same defence for the manager. Mate, if you go through my videos, yeah, although I liked Aubameyang, yeah, and I think that he was played out of position for most of his Arsenal career under Arteta, I did actually state when he missed the North London derby and he turned up late to it, I said Arteta's right for binning him, yeah, and not putting him in the squad that day or putting him on the bench or whatever. Yeah, then when he benched him for weeks and weeks and weeks and we weren't winning games, I was like, well, get him on the pitch. Yeah, get him on the pitch. Then it's a to and fro between manager and player. And as much as I don't want Aubameyang to go. I backed Arteta on that. I said, if he's a problem, he's the manager. He's got to go. Like, the player's got to go. I did the same with Mesut Ozil as well, by the way. You know, when Unai Emery binned him, and then he spat his dummy out, and then eventually Arteta binned him. Done exactly the same, because as much as I rate Aubameyang at Arsenal at that time, yeah, he ain't the future of Arsenal Football Club, is he? And if Mikel Arteta ain't getting sacked tomorrow, then Mikel Arteta is the future. The same with Ten Hag. And when you've got a player that's in their late 30s, mid 30s or whatever, that player is not going to be there in a couple of years' time. The manager will be, especially at Arsenal with the process, the projects and all that, and the same with Ten Hag. So, yeah, if you've got one player that's spitting his dummy out and trying to cause a scene every week and making it all about him, no, and this is what makes me laugh with Ronaldo. He worked under Fergie. Fergie came out once, many, many years ago, and said, as soon as a player starts thinking he's bigger than Man United, he's leaving the football club. Bro, look at the players. Roy Keane did that interview on MUTV.
Gone.
See you later.
Bro, think about it. That's it. But this is the thing. There are elements in this that I'm not going to overtly criticize or slag him off for. You know, anything involving his children, especially his son that passed away. But all that this interview has been done for is to completely and utterly engineer a move away from Man United, because he knows what the club is going to do. And equally on you, even if you didn't agree with what Arteta did, we've seen that the reaping of the rewards from Arsenal for doing it. So from my standpoint, I think people can learn from that. Let's Terry Tell got Potter on to ask him about getting sacked. Graham Potter there. GK says Terry and Lee, the story is gonna divide the world of football. There are people like Piers Morgan who put Ronaldo over Messi as the greatest footballer of all time.
Terry,
Has
by the way.
seen Messi play. Well, this is the conflicting part for me.
Yeah, come collect your goat tail.
Well, it doesn't change how I feel about Ronaldo in terms of his career. I equally understand why he's doing it. Like, I'm not kind of sitting there so far. I don't know what he's going to say tonight. It might completely change my mind, but I'm not kind of sitting there irate, angry, wanting to smash things up. I can't believe he's done it. I don't have any respect for him anymore. And the reason I say that is because he's doing what a lot of players do when they want to get out of their current situation. The ironic thing is, if there was a very talented young player, say Jude Bellingham wants to get out of Dortmund, and he does what he does what Ronaldo's doing. Obviously, he's not as famous, but he does what Ronaldo's doing. And this is what I won't judge him on. I won't judge Ronaldo for doing this more so than other players just because Ronaldo's more famous. That would be unfair. If Jude Bellingham did this to get out of Dortmund, to get to Arsenal, or to get to Liverpool, or to get to Man United, the fans of that club would celebrate this behavior. That's the one thing I would say about it, is almost we condemn it when people do it to get away from our club or we don't like them. But you don't see Liverpool fans don't hate Virgil van Dijk for the way he tried to get himself, what he did to get out of Southampton, if that makes sense. So I get where you're coming.
The funny thing is with the Aubameyang situation, yeah, it was almost a case of, he's toxic in the dressing room. So the same people that were saying he's toxic in the dressing room, some of these people are sitting there saying Ronaldo's right. Well, they need toxic in the dressing room. It's like, if you see it, and this is modern football fandom now, Terry. Yeah, most of these people rate a footballer over the football club. Like I said earlier, there'll be Ronaldo fans that when he leaves Man United and he goes and plays for Timbuktu FC or whoever he plays for next, they will now no longer be Man United fans. They will be going to Timbuktu FC because they are Ronaldo fans and they follow certain players around on their careers. Yes, they will still admire Man United from afar every now and again and check the results, but they're not proper Man United fans. Not all of them. I'm not putting everyone in that bracket that likes Ronaldo, but there is a lot of them like that. It was the same with Mesut Ozil. It's the same with Leo Messi. There's some of these players that are top in terms of following and stature in the game. They have more fans that follow them and their career than they do the actual football club. So it's like, I just find it funny because Ronaldo's just hurt that he ain't playing every week. And that's it, Terry. That's all it boils down to. Like Piers Morgan, this is how you know the whole thing was a setup anyway. Because one of the clips I see, and I haven't watched the first 45 minutes. I've only gone off the clips. I didn't have time yesterday, right? But there was a thing in there, and Piers Morgan says to him, yeah, one person that's spent about a year or so constantly calling you out and coming for you, yeah? And no, one person I didn't expect to be calling you out. That's what he said. One person I didn't expect to be calling you out. Ronaldo went Wayne Rooney. Well, hold on a minute. How did you know he was going to say Wayne Rooney? It could be anyone. Because there's enough people calling him out. How did he know it was Wayne Rooney? Because they've already had that conversation. They've already had the conversation. Piers Morgan had the piece of paper in with the bullet points on the piece of paper. You see him hold the paper up, Terry. Yeah, so they've already gone through it, right? Okay, yeah, we can ask about that. Right, what we'll do is we'll talk about how your daughter was ill. Yeah, we'll do that. Yeah, and then you can, bro. The whole thing's a shambles. It's
mate,
an absolute shambles.
There's a comment I want to put up here from Twisted, who says freedom of speech supersedes any contract of employment.
Well, not really.
Well, it does, but this is the problem with freedom. And when I say this is the problem with freedom, you have to listen to the end of the speech. You're absolutely right. Everybody has freedom of speech, and they can speak out of an employment contract. You have freedom of speech to speak outside of an NDA if you want to.
Mm.
But let's take it back to the employment contract. Ronaldo has every human right to say what he's saying. But Man United have every right now, because of the breach of contract, to discipline, cancel, move him on. Equally, fans have the right to disavow you, to in their mind remove you as a legend of their football club. They have that right as well. That's the thing with freedom. Freedom of speech isn't equal to freedom of consequences. So I'm not suggesting Ronaldo shouldn't do this on a human level. I think on a professional level, the timing and the some of the subjects that he's brought up, and some of it isn't even Man United related directly. Having a go at Neville and Rooney for criticizing him, for me, is child.
I'm not saying he's better. I'm better looking at him, but I am better looking. Like, what? Like, what are you talking about?
I know.
Mate, that comment that just came up there, by the way, freedom of speech ain't a thing anymore, mate. Because if you sit online and you're employed by a company and you sit online and say something about, I don't know, C19, for example, yeah, or you say something about something else, another topic, I don't know, feminism, for example, and it goes slightly over the mark, yeah, you could lose your job, mate. Because your company will go, oh, actually, we can't be linked with somebody like that. So freedom of speech ain't a thing. Yeah, which is why we see during the C times, yeah, so many people losing their accounts on social media.
No, and I understand.
Freedom of speech, you can say to a degree what you want. As soon as you go across a certain level that's deemed unacceptable, you could lose your job, Terry.
But of course, when I worked at Barclays, we all had employment contracts. And when social media became a thing, they sent out amendments to everybody's contracts, and the unions read through them, and it essentially said you cannot bring the company into disrepute on social media. So you could sit there and go, what an amazing day's work I had today. I love Barclays, because that doesn't bring the company into disrepute. That's a good thing. But we had people that would do things like, there was a girl got sacked once because she said, oh, some of the customers in my branch absolutely stink, right? And a customer saw it, because it obviously people retweeted it and whatever else. She lost, she lost her job. Now she has the freedom of speech to tweet that, but Barclays has the freedoms of its own as a business to say, well, that is gross misconduct based on the contract that you signed. Therefore, we are going to let you go. And that's essentially what this is. There are internal goings on that happen in organizations that you don't want to be made public, and for multiple reasons, and you're not allowed to discuss them. And that is what Man United feel has happened here. We've got some other super chats to do. The first one says, do you still stand by defending Aubameyang for months, if not the whole year, and trashing Arteta's for getting rid of him?
The fact he's wrote Arteta's means he's about 15, mate. I wouldn't. What's he saying? Do you still stand by defending Aubameyang for months? Yeah, damn right I did. Yeah, because I'll tell you what, our top scorer this season at this point of the season is Martin Odegaard on 6 goals. When Aubameyang got ditched to the bench around this time last season, he was on more goals and he was playing left wing back, and he was our top goal scorer. In fact, I'm lying. He was one behind Smith Rowe at that point. Yeah, but that don't matter, because he was missing sitters and he was a disgrace and he was a shambles. Not that Jesus has been missing loads of sitters and got less goals than Odegaard. That don't matter, because we're top.
Well, this could repeat itself with Man United. Getting rid of. I
didn't actually say Arteta was right to get rid of him if he was a problem in the dressing room, but people don't like that.
No,
a click on Twitter, Terry. Yeah. They'll take, oh, he's trashed Arteta, so everything, oh, he must be against Arteta on everything. These people make me laugh. Yeah, it's like when you see a TikTok 10 seconds long, or an Insta clip 10 seconds long. That's it. That's the whole story. Well, what about the 2 minutes before that, the 10 minutes before that, the 5 minutes after? No, that's the story. Like I've said, if people in this chat that watch me on a daily basis, and there is people in here, will know that I said Arteta was right getting rid of him. But that won't make a good story for these people. But thanks for your money, mate. So I want to drink out of that.
No, I hear you on that, and I think for me as well, though, the mistake wasn't getting rid of Aubameyang. If I remember our shows correctly, it was not replacing Aubameyang, which people
Yes.
had issue with. Anonymous here says, "Stop pretending Man United were good before Ronaldo joined." But Anonymous, nobody is pretending that. And again, it's all about how you interpret what people are saying. I think United have gone backwards since Ronaldo arrived. I wouldn't put it all down to him. I would say he is a fairly big component, but not the biggest component in that. But nobody is suggesting the start point was winning league titles, but we definitely went backwards. We started losing more games. We started regressing in the league. It's an absolute fact. And I think Ronaldo was a part of that problem because it's interesting that Bruno looks at his best when Ronaldo's not in. Irrespective of people liking Bruno or not, he looks best when he's in the team. Our team looks more fluid when he doesn't play under Ten Hag. So, yeah, no one is suggesting that United were winning league titles, my friend. This super chat here says, in the interview, he talks about how players don't listen, and he named 3 current players who could listen according to him. I wonder how the players feel. Yeah, I think the calling out of the young players bit as well for me. Like, there's elements of it where I kind of get where he's coming from, but this is but he's been very clever, Ronaldo. He is essentially doing what Roy Keane did with MUTV all those years ago. He's having a pop at his own. Once you start having a pop at your own teammates, young, middle-aged or old in footballing terms, or your manager and the owners, you know they're getting rid of you. And this is what Ronaldo wants. He's doing these things to get rid. But what he's done is very clever. I love the fans. I hate the Glazers. I'm all with you guys in your fight against them. It's done in a way to, yes, it's nice he's called them out and it puts pressure on them. But for me, I'm not making him the saving grace because he's only doing it now because he wants to leave. If Ronaldo was playing regularly, scoring and happy, he wouldn't be calling out the Glazers. It's like the journalists in the summer where I said, listen, it's great you're now joining the party with us, but you're doing it because it's fashionable. These same journalists that went on rants about the Glazers, not one of them has said a word since the season kicked off. So, yeah.
So he's calling out his employer. That's basically what he's doing. Oh, I'm going to call out the people that are paying me £500,000 a week. Like, that's basically what he's doing.
So they get rid of me because they don't want to be here.
Yeah, so exactly. And he's doing it to force their hand. And what people can't understand is, oh, I love Man United. I love the fans. If you love Man United that much, mate, you wouldn't be on £500,000 a week. You'd come back for the pure love of it. You do not need the money, my friend. Yeah, so you would have come back for at least half of the money and said, I'll tell you what, pay me what I was on back in 2009. Because I love Man United.
Well,
Messi, Man United. He gives a shit about himself, and that's it, Terry.
Messi asked to stay at Barca for nothing, but they actually couldn't officially do that.
Yeah, exactly. My goat could never do what Ronaldo's done, mate. My goat's still.
I'm going to get through some more of these.
Last night.
I'm going to get through some more of these super chats. Ronnie knows he's finished, but still wants to be in the spotlight. Not ready to bow out yet, just causing controversy now. WJ says CR7 at United was the straw that broke the camel's back. I think so. I mean, again, we never know what's going to happen. But I think if you take Ronaldo out last year and you bring in, ironically, you bring in the Casemiro signing with Sancho and Varane, I think we'd have had a better season than we did, even with Ollie still in charge. Lost all respect for CR7. Should have handled the situation in a more calm and sensible manner. But it turned out to be a man-child lightly gunner.
Mate, it's amazing how many people don't like me, but come and watch every week and donate to the show. So yeah, there's one guy in the chat, wellness with Wallace. I'm leaving. I've had enough of this now. Mate, go and get some wellness. Like, you've sat here for what, 33.5 minutes chatting absolute bollocks in the chat. Yeah, you don't hate me, mate. None of these people that come back in. Terry, it's true. They know what time the show is every week. They know that you set the show up 2-3 hours before or an hour before. They're all in the chat every week. They all put their stupid, dumb comments in and they still watch the whole show. Why? I don't like EastEnders. I'm not going to go and sit there and see Phil Mitchell talking to Sharon in a bad way and go and find Phil McFadden, yeah, or whatever's on Twitter. Go, I can't, Steve McFadden, you're a disgrace for talking to Sharon like that. You people are weird. You're actual weirdos, but thanks. Because you're keeping the algorithm going through the roof.
There we go. I really want to hear what Rio, Roy, and Evra say now. Yeah, that'll be a very, very.
Well, Rio's done a show on it. He did a show on his own channel about it.
There we go. I think I'm more intrigued to see what after the actual tonight.
I think Carragher went on there as well.
Yeah, I think tonight's the one though. Tonight's going to be the one where it kind of goes off in that way. Changing the subject slightly. 5 points clear at the top. Arsenal are my title favourites. What you saying, Lee?
Arsenal scare everybody.
Arsenal, yeah, that's volume 4 of the scare season. But Arsenal now sitting top by 5 points. Greatest start to a league campaign in I think in your club's history. No team's ever had this many points out of 14 games and not won the league. You're very likely, according to 2 very credible journalists, to buy in January. Title favourites?
No, we're not. And before I burst everyone's bubble, can I just say I'm supporting Argentina in this World Cup? And I haven't had a single English person that's living in England, that is born and bred English or British, whatever you want to call it, but lives in England, say to me, you're a disgrace, go and F off down the road to Wales. Why is that, Tel? It's true. Nobody. I've openly admitted I'm supporting Argentina this World Cup. No English man or woman has said you're a disgrace. It's only in domestic football this stuff happens, Terry. Right? But we went. I think it was from January to early March last season. We won 10 out of 13 games. So we've done this before. Yeah, this time around we've done it at the start of the season. We've been superb. Yeah, Ben White at right back. Don't ever put him back at centre back. Yeah, because he's no good at centre back. Right back, he's been superb. Granit Xhaka has been our best player. When he went down with his tummy upset the other day, me and Oliver sat on the watch and oh no, he's getting off. Yeah, that's the turnaround from Granit Xhaka, by the way. But we've been great. We've been superb. Terry's had enough. He's gone. Yeah, see, nobody will clip this, will they, Terry? Lee's being positive. Yeah, but can I just say one thing as well, Terry, right? I don't think we're favourites. And the reason I don't think we're favourites, and I know you're listening, right? And the reason I don't think we're favourites is Man City notoriously back after the season go on a mad one. The one thing that could go in our favour is I think we've only got about 4 or 5 starters for the national teams, whereas I think Man City have got 10 plus. Yeah, so that could help us in the back half of the season. The reason I don't think we're going to do much in January is because we threw the League Cup the other day. And again, Mr. Lee Gunner was negative because he wanted to stay in the cup. How dare I? How dare I want to compete for a trophy, Terry? My fan cam comments, oh, we've got bigger fish to fry. What are them bigger fish? That's a cup. It's a trophy. I've seen us win it twice. Yeah. Oh, no, we got bigger fish to fry. Okay, well, we'll win the league then. No, Man City will win it. Well, what are the bigger fish then? What, top 4? I'm not going to sit and tell my grandkids in 20 years' time, oh, yeah, in 2023, we were top after 14 games, but we ended up coming second. Oh, so you didn't win the league then, Granddad? No. Did you win any trophies? No. You're not going to tell them top 4. Tell me, nobody cares. Yeah, this top 4 crap needs to stop. And this is a thing that's come into football, yeah, where they've changed the European Cup to the Champions League, the UEFA Cup to the Europa League. They've now added in the Conference League, another crap competition. Yeah, they've added in like basically dismissed the League Cup. And that was down to both of our team's managers, Fergie and Wenger, throwing it and just putting kids out. The difference was back then our kids were getting us to finals and getting us to semi-finals. So now when you put the kids out the other night against Brighton, you get knocked out. Yeah, and all that told me the other night, because we've got 2 FA Cup games in January. We've got Newcastle, Tottenham and Everton in January. There's 5 games. If we had qualified past Brighton the other night, there's another 2 games in January. So that's now 7 games in January. That tells me we ain't strengthening the squad much, mate. Yeah, because they didn't want them extra 2 games. If they did, they would have played a better team. There was no reason not to play a better team. We only had one other game before the World Cup. So why didn't you go for it? Then when you see the teams that have got knocked out of that competition, and you see who's actually left in that competition, Man City or Liverpool, one's getting knocked out. Man United are still in it. So there's only going to be 2 really strong teams left in that. So that was an ideal opportunity to go and win it. And people say, oh, it's the crap cup, it's the shit cup. Okay, cool. Yeah, well, go and ask Man City why they take it serious every season. Go and ask Liverpool why they won it last season. Go and ask Jose Mourinho why he took it serious in his first season. That was his first trophy at Chelsea. Like, the League Cup has been so dismissed. Yeah, and we're putting our eggs in this top 4 basket. I don't think anybody at Arsenal believes that we're going to go for a title. I don't believe that any of our fans believe we're going for a title. Yeah, I'm the only person who's held the standards up when we were finishing 8th and 5th, Terry. Yeah, so now we're sat top. Oh, you're not allowed to celebrate. I'm not allowed to celebrate. So who are you? I'll celebrate what I want. Yeah, I'll call the club out when I want. I'll say what I want about my football club that I've supported for nearly 4 decades. And the fact and reality about it is, Terry, yeah, is I am the only channel out there, Arsenal related, that I've seen, maybe I'm wrong, Arsenal related that said, let's go and win the title this season. Go and strengthen in January. Let's go and buy 3 top players in January. Oh, but it's a hard window. No, it ain't. If you go and stick 65 million quid on the table of a team like Palace or Brighton or Brentford for one of their players, you're telling me they're saying no? You can get players in January. It's an excuse. Another thing driven by the media. Oh, the January window's hard work. No, it's not. My standards are to compete for a title, Terry. That has never dropped when we finished 8th. I won't sit and making excuses for 8th and 5th. I'm not sitting here making excuses. Again, yeah, my standards are still the same as they were every season. Go for the title, compete for the title. And we are, after 14 games, the best in the league. We've been the best to watch. We've been the best in terms of defence, along with Newcastle. We're only second behind Man City on goals scored, and look at their squad. Yeah, and we've only lost 1 game. I don't think anyone would have thought that at the start of the season. Can we do that over a course of a whole season? Don't think so, because I don't think that squad's good enough, which is why I want us to go and buy 3 players in January, so then we can compete. And if we do end up finishing 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 points behind Man City, at least we've had a go. Yeah, and then I'll be happy.
Well,
yeah,
if you finish 3 or 4
points, moving the goalposts. Can I just say that people say I'm moving the goalposts? I ain't moved no goalposts, mate. Because if you look at my channel and you look at my comments on this channel and other channels I go on, I've never moved the goalposts. The goalposts are compete for the title. What is the aim of elite sport? How many times have you heard me say that, Terry? What is the aim of elite sport? Because it ain't to come third loser, second loser, or first loser. It's to win the major honours. That's it. We smashed the stadium down for this. So far, so good. Do I believe we're favourites? No. And why would I not? Why would I believe we're favourites? We've got no proof in the last 10, 15 years. We've been top since 07, 08. I think this is the 6th time we've been top at Christmas. We ain't won the league in any of them. Yeah. So what's the difference this time round? The difference this time round is we are what? We're what? There's no difference, Terry. We were top.
There is.
In 2008, 2007, 2008, we had 1 point less than we've got now after the same amount of games, yeah? We ended up 3rd that season. We ended up 3rd.
What
right?
season
was that? Because we never strengthened in January.
What season was that?
2007, 2008.
Okay.
We were top of the league at this point with 36 points, 1 less than we've got now. Why didn't we win it? We finished 3rd. Why didn't we win it? Because we didn't strengthen in January. 2016, when Leicester won it, we only signed Petr Cech that season. Shambles. 2013-14, yeah, we should have won it that season as well. What happened? We didn't. Yeah, so history tells you that Arsenal do this quite a lot. Last season, like I said, from January to March, we won 10 out of 13 games. I remember sitting on here, you're going, you're in the mud. And I said, irrelevant runs of form that lead to nothing are irrelevant, Terry. Yeah, if we don't end up competing for the title from this point, then it's been irrelevant. I'm not expecting us to go and win the title every year, but I want a title challenge. And I've not changed the goalpost. That has been my stance for years.
Let me just interject for a minute then. So I agree, but also you said if Arteta gets you into a title race, then you will beat Arteta in, which is cool. Or say you're wrong. So we're all looking forward to that. Yeah. I just find you out. Look, I agree with large parts of it.
I'm waiting for the title to be Arteta scares Lee.
Yeah. I'm kind of like, I get where you're coming from. I just think sometimes the way you articulate, people lose sight.
Because people don't like a dominant and
person,
Terry, that stands up and says, no, this is this. They don't like it. They try and cancel that because they're so used to being told that no, you have to be non-toxic and Terry, what? The aim of elite sport is to win the title, win the trophies. That's it. That's the same in any sport. If you're a boxer, you don't want to come second, do you? Yeah? You don't. If you go and ask Floyd Mayweather what it's like to finish second, he don't know. He'd say, what's second? I don't know about second, mate. I'll win everything. Yeah, go and ask Joe Calzaghe. Then go and ask all the elite sportsmen and women over the years, right? That when they start, at the start of that campaign, that season, whatever it may be, they are out there to go and win the major honour. Why do you think Harry Kane wanted to leave Tottenham's Because he wanted to win something.
No, my bro, I understand that. Can I just get this out? Just because I don't have what I've got going on. It's hard for me to talk over people at the minute. I'll be shaking in the corner in 5 minutes.
Oh, you.
Yeah, I think for me, I get where you're coming from. People just sometimes have a problem because it sounds like a negative. The way you're wording it. That's my take. For me, I get where you're coming from. You want to go for this title now. I make you favourites. And I think the difference is this. Yes, you had 36 points after this amount of games and you didn't win it in 2008. Partly that was because you were up against arguably the greatest ever Premier League team in Man United, Champions League, Premier League winners. Also, you're right. The strengthening in January, I think on 2 or 3 occasions has really hindered Arsenal. And in my video where I said I think you're going to win the league, it is caveated with that's going out in January and buying. If you don't buy in January, my opinion will change, because I think you've just got to have that extra little bit of strength should something go wrong, or a little bit like Kulusevski did with Tottenham last year, or not David Luiz, Luis Diaz at Liverpool. Just that new injection of energy and excitement and euphoria around the dressing room. And I think you guys have got a great chance. I definitely think you're going to be in the running into the last few games. The only thing I would say that I disagree with is those irrelevant runs of form that lead to nothing mean nothing. I said at the start of the season, I think you'd become a title challenging worthy team this year. The one thing I would say is this: if you do miss out by 8, 9, 10 points, because you're just not quite there, but you go very strong in the summer and buy well, I wouldn't say this season was irrelevant, because it's giving you the building blocks and the experience to go again. Where it would be irrelevant is if next year you fall off and you're challenging for top 4 again. Does that make sense? Like, if this is the year where you become a title challenging team and you maintain that level for 3, 4, 5 years, then it isn't irrelevant. So I that's the only element I disagree with. But Arsenal now, and every Arsenal fan on this planet, should be screaming blue murder for a massive January, big investment, 1 or 2 star level players that can take you get you to an even bigger level. Because imagine having a 5-point gap at this stage of the season, playing well, one of the, conceding the least amount of good quality chances on your goal, which I think is really important. A really important kind of, it isn't just a statistic, it is also the eye test shows you this. Like, you very rarely concede massive chances in most games. And I think all of this for me is just an indicator that you can definitely win the league. But you're right, the Cronkies have to have pressure put upon them to spend in January. If they don't, and you miss out by a handful of points, that for me is almost unforgivable, because who knows where you are in a year's time? Who knows? Next season you could be just as good, but you suffered too many injuries in the season to compete again.
Chelsea were top last year.
Yeah, exactly. So you've got to invest right. There's no doubt about it.
And you made a great point there, about you have to put pressure on the Cronkies now. Terry, nobody cares. Yeah, like, there's people in this chat. I unsubscribed from Lee because he never gives flowers to anyone. He's toxic. How's it toxic to want to win, mate? How's it toxic to want to compete for the best? Yeah, how is that toxic? There's millions of Arsenal fans around the world, not just Arsenal fans, but of all top clubs now, that accept mediocrity. Yeah, if you support Arsenal or Man United, you should be demanding the very best. Yeah, and like I said, I've not seen any other channels out there that have sat there consistently and said, we've got a chance to win it this season. I think we could win the league. I'm the one saying this, by the way. I ain't seen nobody else saying this, Terry. I think we could win the league, but only if we do X, Y, and Z. We need to go and get a better bench. When we've got Cedric, Holding, Nketiah, Marquinhos, Nelson on the bench, sorry, that ain't good enough. Holding, they ain't good enough. So you need to go and get 3 players that are better than them and put them on the bench. Because then when you do have a Jesus injury, or you do have Jesus knackered in a game, you can bring somebody better on than Eddie Nketiah. When Saliba gets injured, you could have a better backup. Yeah, you could maybe put Ben White at centre-back. Not that I'd want him there, but you could put him at centre-back and put somebody else at right-back. We haven't seen Saliba or Jesus get injured yet, and hopefully they don't. My point is, like, I'm the only channel out here saying this, because if you ask any of these other Arsenal fans that have social media accounts, YouTube, whatever, do you think Arsenal can win the league? No, the aim's top 4. That's all I keep hearing, mate. The aim and target is top 4. Okay, well, the target was top 4. Cool. Right, but now we're top. Well, so you're still keeping that target. There's no pressure. And this is why the Cronkies have taken the wholesale piss for how long? Because they're serving up. I've done it before, Terry, with the bottle of water. And if it's this much now and it goes up and it's crap water, you still go back and buy it. And it's more next year and you still go back and buy it. The fact is, the Cronkies will churn out the bare minimum. The fan base have to raise that standard and stick it on them. And they have to stick it on them now whilst we're top. The last season, we got rid of 6 players in January, replaced them with nobody. And we missed out on top 4 in the last 3 games when we were 4 points clear. We lost 2 out of them last 3. So have these fans not learned from that? We're top of the table, 5 points clear. If Man City beat us twice, we're second.
No,
so
listen,
let's go and kick on. Let's go and make it. Let's go and sit on Man City and go and spend 100, 150 million in January. I'm not having this that you can't buy players in January. What a load of rubbish. What a load of rubbish. And then you've got the likes of Ian Wright, wheel out righty, woohoo, let's get another kit, saying let's bring Ronaldo to Arsenal. What? What are you talking about?
I'd love that. You guys.
No, mate, seriously, no. Don't even wind me up. Yeah, at the end of the day, Terry, Arsenal have got a great opportunity to do it this season. Yeah, but they won't. because ultimately the squad is not good enough. Yeah, which is why you need to listen. It's been great for 14 games plus Europa League games, but now let's assume, right? Let's say we get top 4, we get to the summer. Now we're in the Champions League, right? Well, do you think that squad is good enough to go through a Champions League campaign, playing your best players because you have to in the Champions League? It's not Europa League. You have to play your best, and then playing a league game, then a Champions League, then a league, then a Champions League. So we are going to go and invest in the summer, right? Because you'd like to think if we get Champions League, we're going to improve the squad, right? People sit there and say, oh, but if you get Champions League, you can attract better players. Bollocks. In the Champions League in 22 years, we signed 3 world-class footballers, mate. Sol Campbell, Mesut Ozil, who wasn't world-class at Arsenal, but he was at Madrid when we signed him, and Alexis Sanchez. There's no other world-class player that was world-class the day we signed him, and we had 22 years of that competition. We never bothered to win it apart from once and lost in that final, right? So you'd like to think that Arsenal are going to go and spend some money in the summer. So why not bring that thinking forward and say, well, we've got money for the summer. Let's go and do it in January.
No,
potentially win the league, and then we can spend less in summer.
But Lee, I think the reason why people, this is my take with some people online, not all, just some, is there is a worry amongst the Arsenal fan base that the goalposts get moved in terms of right now you've already exceeded the expectations. But if we raise the expectations now mid-season and we foul, we'll get bantered and whatever. And I've kind of said to these Arsenal fans, like, essentially, grow some thicker skin. Like, and maybe it's the younger generation, because for me, I remember my team winning trebles and we got slagged off. I remember winning Champions Leagues and being slagged off. Liverpool won their first title in 30 years at a canter. And I remember the after show we did on the terrace, we were all bantering them. Well, it wasn't the invincible treble like you thought. And you know, it was a asterisk trophy because of COVID and all this. Now, we didn't mean any of it, but it was just banter. And I think for me, that was the interesting thing. Pete here says team spirit goes a long way. I think that's one thing Arsenal got in abundance right now. The spirit at your club and the togetherness and the team element is sensational. Chike here says, I'm a fan of the NFL, which stands for the National Football League. And Lee is absolutely right. You could go 17-0 and still not win the Super Bowl. It's so it's absolutely irrelevant because they didn't win. I would just challenge it slightly, Chike, because of course the way teams can improve in the NFL is very different, because the better teams get worse draft picks, so the worst teams can get the better up and coming players that are coming through. That doesn't happen in football. You should be building upon whatever you've done. So whether Arsenal win the league, this is also the thing. If Arsenal win the league title, you should then still demand more investment, because that's where Arsenal fell off in the first place. You had one of the best teams in the world, and you didn't keep topping it up in the same way. So you've always got to aim, win, lose, or draw. There shouldn't be a change in the plan.
Being the best, and unfortunately, our fans don't do that, because most of our online fans, Terry, have never seen us win a league.
Yeah. This here says the overwhelming majority of professional sportsmen and women have no shot at winning major honours. Arsenal should aim to win, but what about Villa? Arsenal are not professional.
That is the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life.
Well, what do you mean?
Talk, sorry, mate, but that's the stupidest.
Yeah, what do you mean? Yeah. What do you mean? Break that down.
Like, the majority of sportsmen and women have no shot of winning a major honour. So basically, what you're saying is Arsenal shouldn't bother.
No, I think he's saying the opposite. I think he's saying that most don't have an opportunity. Arsenal have. So they'd
Aston Villa should be aiming for the title.
Hang on a minute. I think what he's saying is that most don't get the chance. Arsenal have. Therefore, they're unprofessional if they don't.
Okay, well, if that's what he's saying, then it wasn't worded very well. But either way, Aston Villa, yeah, every single team in the league should be going for a trophy. Yeah, okay, maybe only one can win the league. What about the League Cup? Why do all these teams that don't win nothing put reserve teams out in the League Cup? You're not going to win anything, so at least have a go at winning something. No, yeah, it's a joke. It's an absolute disgrace.
I agree. JJ here says Lee would criticize himself if he had no one else to. If Arsenal win the league, would be Arteta has failed to polish the statues outside of the.
Well, how about let's see it happen first, mate, and come back when it happens. Yeah?
Well, I will say this:
if Lee had nobody, how about go and win the league and shut me up? Then
I'll just say this in Lee's defense. Two things in Lee's defense. One, Lee's already stated that he would say he was wrong, so therefore there isn't.
I'll do it live on this show. I finally scared Lee into submission.
I can't wait. Secondly, as well, like, I get a lot of messages every week, like, don't have Lee on. And my view is this. No, but my view on it is very much this.
Feminine boys, man, they need to grow us there.
Well, the way I look at it is this, right? If I had more of me, if I could spread myself even more thin than I have done, I would have more people on, and I want more people on here that have differing views. So we have you, we have Jess, we have Igal, we have Colleen, we have Kazu, not Kaz, sorry, Keshi doesn't come on as much anymore. We've got a number of callers in like Brandon and Jason and whoever else. When I look at the Arsenal fans who come regularly on the show, show their face and talk, the difference in all your approaches and opinions are so vast, it's crazy. My view is this, though, and I gave this bit of advice last night at the Content Awards when up and coming. He's not even an up and coming creator. He's been around a while. He's like, my channel's not growing. It isn't moving forward. And I said, because everyone you have on your show thinks and feels the same fucking thing. I said, I don't want everyone on the terrace. This is why when people say, oh, Terry tells KJ or Neeks what to say, it's the complete opposite. KJ goes out and finds people to come on the shows. That's what he does as part of his job. And I'm like, I don't want people on that think the same as me. It's boring. I'd rather someone go, Terry, you're chatting shit, or we disagree on things. So for me, I know not everyone likes to listen to Lee, but that's why there's variety in the Terry.
Come back and watch it every week, Terry.
Well,
So,
and if you don't, then this show isn't for you. There are other ones out there. But yeah, no, I get JJ. I appreciate the super chat.
This is the world we live in, Terry. Yeah, I don't agree with him, so cancel him. Get him off the show, Terry. How about don't watch it for an hour on Tuesday? Obviously, today it's Thursday, so we're doing it on Tuesday at 5 o'clock. If you don't like what I'm saying, don't come, mate. Just have an hour off. Terry does 3 shows a day, 4 sometimes. You can miss one, mate. It's fine. It's okay. Yeah, if it's so toxic and so upsetting, just go back to your Disney-esque fantasy land with unicorns and rainbows and sparkles and just have an hour chill. Absolutely. No drama, no problema.
Let's move forward now. Big up Lee and Terry. Hope you guys are doing well. I always thought Ronaldo as a snake, and I'm happy he fucked off now. I don't think Ronaldo is any more a snake than 95% of other players. He was never a United. The only time you rarely get the snakeage is if someone's a true academy player. Now, I'll give you an example. Raheem Sterling wasn't a true Liverpool academy player. He came through predominantly at the QPR academy till he was 15, 16. QPR boy. The only time you generally get true loyalty is a born and bred Mancunian or a born and bred Scouse or a born and bred North Londoner who at 8 years old joined Arsenal, joined Man United, joined Liverpool. Yeah, born and 8 years old from Newcastle, joins the Toon, and they make it into the first team. That's generally where you get the lifelong loyalty. Outside of that, you bring in, Man United have got Garnancho coming through right now. Wouldn't delude myself into thinking this young man is a born young Argentinian. He's coming to the United Academy. But do I think that United will be his only destination for the rest of his life? Probably not, because up until he joined Man United, he probably had ideals of joining elsewhere. If he grew up in Manchester and it was his local team, the only place he wanted to be, then he'd be more likely to stay. This is just the way. So I don't think Ronaldo
came through Getafe's system. He came through their youth setup and then went to
there we go. I didn't even look at that. I just knew that he was.
This is the thing. I've seen so many Man United fans claiming, "Oh, look at our academy. It's great." No, he was in Getafe's academy, mate, and then went to Atleti. You got him from Atleti for less than $500,000, 400 grand. Yeah, and he was only at Atleti for about 4 years, I think.
Well, so the thing is, so he's 18 now. So Man United got him in 2020. So we got him at 16. So we did get him. So in fairness, yeah, he did. I don't know how long he was at Getafe for. It says nothing. 2015. He did 5 years at Atletico and 2 years at Man United. So yeah, again, he's a combination of academies. But Atletico.
Yeah, but Man United fans are trying to take that as, look at our academy. No,
but by the way, he is special, isn't he? He is special.
He's massively overrated already. Like, Terry, he's played.
I'm not allowed to be excited, but what?
Terry. Oh my days, this modern generation drive me nuts. Yeah, real talk. Terry, how many players have you seen come on the scene at Man United and flop after they've been hyped up to be the next greatest player coming through? You've seen it so many times at Man United, and you're falling for this again.
I'm not falling for it. When you say overrated, explain that element for me.
Your fan base have already put him on a status that he's the next Messi. That's how all I've seen is gone. They have. Bro,
yeah, but,
this is
okay. Slow down. Let's break this down. What fans? What are their names? Are they real people, or have they got like?
No, most of them are bot accounts online.
Yeah. So get rid of Dominic _United 68. Right, forget him. But
I'm sure there's Garnancho hats on Twitter now. Garnancho.
Yeah. Forget all those guys. What content?
Garnancho.
Okay. What content creators have done that?
Mate, I don't watch any United content creators. I barely watch any Arsenal ones.
No
mate,
one's
'cause,
doing that. No one's overrated. How good do you
mate,
think he is? Let's take away from how good do you think he is? How good
I
do you
think
think?
he's a good
Let's do it
player.
again. Let's do it again.
I
How
think
good
he's
is the talent? Because it's talent at this point. How good is the talent and ability in your opinion?
Don't dare ask me that stupid question that people say, do you think he's got a high ceiling? What does that even mean? The high ceiling thing is you've just put him on such a pedestal to make it sound like he's going to be the greatest player to live in history. They've done it with Saka. Yeah, and like our fans put Saka on a Ronaldinho pedestal. So when he don't perform to Ronaldinho status, I'm going to call it out. But now I'm negative for calling it out. Don't put him up there then. Just let him play football, innit? But this is what fans do. They see a young kid come in the team and they go, oh my God, he scored the winner against Fulham. Oh, he must be amazing. And listen, it was a great goal, by the way. Yeah, and he played very well in the game at the weekend before that, in your league game. And he said, was it the league game? No, it was the League Cup game against Aston Villa. Yeah, and some of the crossing was brilliant. But listen, let me just say, Terry, yeah, he's played a couple of games and your fans are already going wild about him.
Let me just say this. Let me just say this.
He's not Messi, mate.
Let me just say this. Let me just say this about him.
The Argentine Aaron Lennon.
Let me just say, I'd say he's better than that because he's the pass he pulled off.
Based on what? Based on 2 games.
Let me just finish talking, okay? And once I've explained it, then you can challenge it. So Don here actually is similar. He says Terry has joined the deluded crew. Give the kid time to show his values for a long period of time. I agree. And if you watch my reaction shows, I've said I've been impressed with him. The talent is there for days. You can see the ability. And you know as well as I do with the eye test, you can normally see in 3 or 4 games in the first team whether someone's got something about them. However, that's got to become consistent. And that means producing what he's done in the last few games on a very regular basis. And it remains to be seen whether he can do that. However, in my opinion, that's based on hard work and not ability. He's shown how good he is, how you maintain how he started. And he'll have peaks and troughs because all young players do. Very few at 18 just are at their best and just stay at that level forever because they're already world class. Like Pele, a handful over the history of time have done it. But Garnacho's got talent. So the ceiling question is this. You've seen how good he looks when he's broke into the scene. How good you think he could become? And for me, he could become a world-class player. Could become a world-class player. Because let me finish. No, he could be. He could. But how he gets there is through hard work, perseverance, and the right attitude. The ability is there. And we've seen the ability. He can dribble on the inside, on the outside, can cross the ball, can pass the ball, and can score goals. So at the highest level of the game. So the ability is there, but we've got to see, can he maintain the consistency? Does he have the heart and desire to continue working every day to maintain his quality? How he does in big games, how he does in the games against the bigger teams. There's so many question marks. So my view is this. There is a superstar talent who started very well, but everybody should calm down and say, let's relax. And it's it. So I don't disagree with you. So people got
you just said everyone should calm down by saying he's got world-class talent. Oh my days,
talent.
What?
So again, let me explain to what talent means. So talent is the ability to be that good, and you get this in all sports. You get this in all sports when a young boxer comes through. You can see that they've got superstar talent. You go, wow, where they move, but they're raw and they've got to harness that. You see it in MMA, you see it in football. You see the day that I saw Messi play for the first time, you saw there was world-class talent in him. Would he realize it? Would he go on to that level to show it and prove it? Who knows? We've seen many, you're right. There's been many a youngster burst onto the scenes in England at 17, 18, 19 who had superstar talent. But for one reason or another, they didn't realize that talent and become a world-class player. So for me, talent and what you are 2 different things. Equally, ability and what you are 2 different things. An example I would give you is this. Eden Hazard, at his best, is as good as nearly any player I've ever seen play. But he's not at that level like Messi's and Ronaldo's because he didn't deliver that on a consistent basis. The talent was there, the consistency wasn't. And so that's how I judge young players. I look at their talent and their ability as, well, we can see how good they are and how good they can become. But it's what gets them to that point. And that is generally hard work, perseverance, and the right attitude day in, day out. And if he does that, he's got a very good chance of playing at the highest level of the game for a long time. And you can see it early because the guy's got output with ability straight away. However, he needs to maintain that attitude and develop himself.
1 goal.
No, he scored 2 goals.
I remember when you lot, sorry, 2 goals. I remember when you lot had Januzaj. Do you remember him? The next Ronaldo. What happened to him?
Well, but this is exactly my point. So if you go and read, and this is more, United fans know this more than Arsenal fans. So Rene Mullenstein, who was a very good coach under Fergie and stayed on for a year or so after, said that in that same season, people forget this because Moyes got sacked. Both Januzaj and young James Wilson came through. Januzaj scored a brace that season on his debut. James Wilson really. No. Let me see. You don't get to the end of sentences before you stop listening.
I'm just laughing. I am listening. I'm just laughing. Go on.
No. But the point I made is in this. James Wilson got his debut the same season when Giggs was manager. Scored a brace on his debut. I want to say it was against Hull at home. But René Millenstein spoke about how when they both broke into the first team squads, he said they stopped working as hard. They stopped putting in the extra hours. You would see them like bantering the younger players that we've made it now, like sitting in the jacuzzis in the changing areas, giving it Billy Big Balls. And he said that was his moment when he kind of looked at it and said, I don't think they're not going to maintain what they've got and go to that next level. The talent was wasted. And that's my point. It isn't about getting your debut doesn't mean you've made it. When you've made it is when you're 28, 29, 30 and you've played at the highest level for a decade and you've been winning things and competitive. That's a player that's made it. Making your debut, playing 50 games in your first few years, looking good for a season or two, that isn't making it in my eyes. But for some people, that's enough. They relax after that and they just go, I'm going to see what happens now after this point. So for me, talent is one thing. Realizing that talent and making it become a consistent output of your talent equates to consistent output at the highest level. That's a fundamental difference. So I can separate the two things in my mind. Your talent and ability is not the same as what you are as a player. In my view, and we've seen that with so many players, Adriano, Pato. You probably could sit there and name Broja, not Broja, Brojan, and all these players that have come through. You're like, oh, this will be the next, and they haven't done it because they.
Yeah, but this is because people sit there and put them on this is the next. This guy who plays for Shakhtar Donetsk that's linked to Arsenal, Mudryk. Oh, he's the Ukrainian Messi. No, he ain't, or Ukrainian Neymar, or whatever I see the other day. What are you talking about? And nobody watches Ukrainian football, by the way, unless you're Ukraine. Like, unless you're Ukrainian, you ain't watching that league. I've watched them twice against Celtic in the Champions League this season because I wanted to see what all the hype was about this kid. Right? At the same time, Terry, PSG were playing Juve. How many of these people were claiming that they know all about this Mudryk guy, decided not to watch PSG that night and watch Shakhtar instead? Probably none of them. Yeah, and this guy is now going to be the next overrated kid that's going to flop. Yeah, and we probably won't be buying him anyway because this is just going to go all the way through the January window. Oh, look, we tried, but if we can't get the talent that we want, we're not just going to buy anybody. That's basically saying we're going to lower the standards and not go for multiple top talents. We're just going to go and concentrate on one talent and not have a backup plan. Yeah, come on, Tell. Like this Garnancho kid, he might be good, he might not. He's played less than 300 minutes of football. He scored a couple of goals. Whoopee, I remember Rashford scoring on his debut against us. What's he done ever since? Nothing.
Won 3 trophies and scored over 100 goals for his boyhood club.
Well done. And he's still trash.
But you said that winning trophies is all that matters in football. He's won 3 of them.
It is. And he's been nicking a living. And he's lucky that he was in a team managed by Jose Mourinho, mate.
But you could also argue he's unlucky to have not been at a club and had a manager that's built a good enough structure to make everybody benefit and prosper.
Well, you could say that about every club.
Exactly. I know exactly. So it's timing sometimes. It's not always down to them. But my view
is if he was that great, then the top teams in the world would want him anyway.
Like PSG want him.
Oh, really? You believe that? Yeah. What? Who are they dropping? Neymar? Come on.
No, they wanted. They wanted. So when they inquired about him, is when in the summer was when they thought, but was prior to Mbappe signing a new deal. They wanted him as the Mbappe replacement, but they wanted him.
I do believe that.
Barcelona. Well, this is the point, though, my bro. You say no one wants him. And then credible journalists say that these big clubs do, and you say, well, I don't believe it. That way it's win-win for you. You can't be wrong, can you? If you say no one wants him.
Nobody wanted Rashford, mate.
So how do we prove that someone wanted Rashford? How do you get the proof of that?
Well, there was no official bid from PSG.
But there never is. So the official bids don't go in until the clubs agree.
Did you ever see Rashford and his representative sitting down with PSG reps?
So is that the only?
Two credible journalists have said it, so it must be true.
Bro, I can't argue at the moment, but I just want to get a straight answer. So what would make you believe it? Like, what would actually make you believe it?
If I see photographic evidence of his agent sat down with PSG reps and they're sitting in a hotel talking with each other, business suited up over a table, I think, oh yeah, maybe Rashford is lined up for PSG. Until then, it's a load of rubbish.
So no transfer story. Just I want to make sure I'm 100%. I don't want to be
Most of the transfer news is the biggest load of garbage you'll ever see.
Okay.
And it comes from the agent trying to get a new deal for his client, or it comes from the club trying to make out they tried.
And I understand that 110%. I'm just trying to understand what it would take for you to believe it. But that is absolutely fair enough. I completely and utterly get that. But look, as I said before, you know, I look at it along the lines of talent and what you become are two very different things. So I agree with half of what you said about Garnancho. There is I think there's a supremely talented footballer there who can do it, who looks like he's got the ability to do everything you'd want from an attacker: dribble, cross, pass, shoot. Like header is probably anything we haven't seen him do yet. But where I agree with you is let's slow down. Let's keep encouraging. The manager still, this is what I love about Ten Hag, still hasn't upgraded him into the first team changing rooms yet. As in training, he's still his locker and stuff is still in the academy room. So even though he's training with the first team, he changes there and meets them at some other point in Carrington. For me, those little things are important. United lost something when Fergie left. Fergie made no academy player until he got I think it was his first renewal contract in the first team, was allowed to wear anything other than black leather football boots. Little things like that, I just think go a long, long way at academies. But this actually brings us nicely into another talking point before we go on to England. Who do you think is going to make the top four? I know we're not quite at the midway point, but it's a nice natural break natural break. It's the World Cup, but there's a break in the league. Who do you think is going to make the top four? Because Spurs are doing this. Newcastle are on fire. Arsenal and City. Look, Arsenal and City are shoo-ins, I think. Let's just take them out of it. There's two places left: Newcastle, Tottenham, Man United, Liverpool, Chelsea. Those five teams are fighting out for the two spots. Who, in your opinion, is making it?
It'd be nice if Newcastle made it, but I don't think they will. Depends what they do in January. I don't think they'll find it hard to buy players in January, by the way. Depends what
no, they won't. They won't.
Yeah, some money talks. I think Man United will make it, and I'm going to say Tottenham. Now, at the moment, as it stands, I'd say Tottenham and Man United. I think Newcastle will drop out and Man United will go in. Chelsea. Do you remember the bet I had with that lad on this channel? I'm going to have to give him 200 quid at the end of the season, isn't I? he keeps commenting in my videos. You still got all that 200, yeah?
Mate, even if you guys have the biggest collapse in the history of the Premier League, you're probably still going to have to pay him that money.
They're pretty shafted, to be fair. But again, it's what these teams do in January. As it stands right now, yeah, I'd say Newcastle drop out and Man United go in. But goal difference could come into this, Terry. Right, and you ain't scoring a lot of goals. So I don't know. It's weird, isn't it? It's a bit of a weird one. Liverpool, you know, they can string a load of results together, but they improved that so far this season. Chelsea looks shot to pieces at the minute. Man United, they're playing all right, man. They're playing all right. But again, you're going to have some iffy results here and there. Tottenham have had the best start to a Premier League season, and they're still 8 behind us. And people say they're our rival. Good one. Man City, we know they'll go on a mad run, so they're in. And I think we'll get top 4 as it stands, yeah. But a lot can change in 24 games, Terry.
That's
as it stands now, yeah. I'd say Newcastle drop out and United go in.
Yeah,
but wouldn't it be nice if Newcastle got top 4 though? Like that'd just be class. From a year ago, this time last year, they were 19th in the league, and now they're 3rd. There's no 4-year process at Newcastle, mate. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's crazy. But do you know what? It's going to be. It's that they've moved on very quickly. I still, my prediction hasn't changed. Just wanted to get yours. I said it on the top 6 on Monday. Spurs will get it, and I think Liverpool will come back. Even when they were going through their form and I was bantering them and having a laugh and a joke, I still couldn't write them off, and I still won't write them off, because that what they'll do is just keep winning games and no one's looking at them, and suddenly they'll be a point behind the top 4. They'll buy in January and they'll be okay. They've got one of the best managers in the world, top 1, top 2. I think everybody would agree, and I just don't think that they were going for a bad period, and they're not as good as they were, but they're still good enough for the top 4. I think Antonio Conte is such a good league manager that he'll get them top 4, irrespective of how bad it looks. I think Newcastle, even if they buy, I think will just puff out. The one argument for them getting in more than anything, though, is they don't have no European football. So it may end up being, if they go out of the cup competitions, 1 game a week. But then they're not going to go out the cup competitions because they're going to try and win something. Like, imagine how big a hero Eddie Howe becomes if he breaks it. Is it 60, 70 years since they won a trophy? Imagine he breaks that and makes it into the top 4. And like that for me is great success, because that's a trophy and back in the Champions League a year into this new ownership. That is ridiculous levels. And I think for me, I
signings have been. I said this yesterday. Sorry to cut you, mate. I said this yesterday with James Redmond. If you look at the players, because I was asking him why Liverpool have just fallen off a cliff, and he was saying the recruitment in the summer was shocking. If you have a look at the players that Newcastle signed, any top 6 team could have got them. Sven Botman at centre back was 30 mil. He's been one of the best centre backs in the league this season. Yeah. Then you've got Kieran Trippier. They signed him under that regime. Well, he's a decent player. Like, and he'll get the odd free kick here and there as well. He weren't that much money. I think he was about 20 mil, 18 mil, something like that. Then you go into midfield. They've got Bruno Guimaraes. We were linked to him. He trolled us when he signed for them. So that was a player that a top 6 team could have got. Then you go with Isak, the striker. I know he's been injured, and I think that's their biggest signing, 70 mil, 65 mil. But we could have bought him. You could have bought him. Anyone could have bought him. Chelsea needs a striker. You need a striker. We needed a striker. No, the only team we wouldn't have gone to probably is Man City, because he ain't good enough. But I think, like, if you look at the players that they've actually signed, they're all players that a top 6 team could have got and are good enough to play in most top 6 teams. But they're not the ones that have really, apart from Botman. Yeah, Bruno's been quality, to be fair, but they're not the ones that have really kicked on this season under Eddie Howe. It's the ones that were already there. Callum Wilson.
Well,
this
is what happens with standards of a club being improved and then people buying into it versus standards being improved at a club, but players going, well, I've loved getting away with earning a massive living for doing little. Newcastle's players are seeing investment. They're seeing the training ground improve. They're like, well, they're earning good money comparatively to the general man in the street. But look, I'm on 20 grand a week. If I don't improve myself here and get on board with it straight away, I'm going to be gone. But I want to be here for this ride. I bet the likes of Longstaff and John Joe Shelby and a few those kind of names are sitting there thinking, wow, like I might not last a decade here because of what's going on, but I might be like, if they make the Champions League this year, Longstaff will have a season in the Champions League. He would probably never have got that unless his new owners came in. No Champions League club is going to buy him and vice versa. So everybody raises their standards. Everybody works harder on the pitch. Gary Neville's been calling this out with Man United for a while. Players will see, and this is the element of Ronaldo's interview that's true. Players will see this, the technology being poor, the things crumbling, falling around, the lack of standards. And they go, well, the club don't care, so why should I? Newcastle's players were having ice baths in paddling pools. At the Premier League, they're having ice baths in paddling pools.
Ronaldo would be fuming.
Exactly. But you suddenly install a new state-of-the-art training ground with every mod con available. The message is they're serious. This even happens in the industry that we work in. If you get like someone wants you on their channel and they send you an official email, what they want, how they want your camera to look, where the earphones do that, you think, oh, they're bloody serious. If it's just, turn up, we go live at 6, but turn up at our past if you want, or do this if you want. You don't take me seriously, but we kind of know you're doing another show straight after. But there's an element of like, you can tell when you're dealing with a fly-by-night group or if someone's serious and how serious they take it and the standards. Like when I'm in my studio, I like it clean, I like it tidy, and I like all the equipment being respected. Because if I have that attitude, the staff have that attitude, think that the standard is better. Does that make sense? And Newcastle have raised their standards, so they play on the pitch. And this is why football fans who just look at football as if you've got good players and a good manager, or you've got a good manager and spend money, you succeed. It's nonsense. It's every element of how that football club is run from top to bottom that dictates how good you are and how you maintain that quality. And Liverpool are well run in nearly every other area. But the last 2 to 3 years, they've failed to invest to keep up with other people. They've failed to invest. It isn't the general day-to-day running that's the problem, is they've gone, we're not putting any more money in. And as soon as they've stopped doing that, they've slightly fallen away. And it's taken a year or so for that to come to fruition. But it has. But yeah, I'm going to go with Newcastle coming 5th, Man United coming 6th. I had United coming 6th anyway. I think Newcastle will finish above us this year. If we go out in January and do something crazy, then maybe it will change, but we will see. Super chat here says, big up Terry, loving the content. Big up Don Lee. Thank you,
Big up
bro.
After.
Thanks, Terry, for being the level-headed one here. No, not a problem, Kenny. I'm not always level-headed.
What does level-headed mean? I see that a lot. I see Arsenal fans saying, I'm a level-headed gooner. No, you're not.
Balanced.
Right.
I think it means balanced. But
Balanced. Have you seen our fan base about balanced? I'm balanced. I'm the one saying that, oh, we can't do this because of this. These people are getting carried away, running off, going, oh, we're top of the league. We can't hear you from up here. Okay, do you think we'll win it? Nah, top four's the aim. How's that level-headed? That's just dumb. Level-headed is saying we can win the league, but we need to get a couple of players. I don't see anyone saying that.
This here says, as an
I'm
Arsenal
holding
fan,
the standards.
I know you are, mate. As an Arsenal fan, I find that Terry analysed football better than Lee Gunner because you're too emotional.
Yeah, because it's my football team. I've supported it nearly 40 years. Why would I not be emotional about a club that I've supported nearly my whole life? Terry's got no emotion to Arsenal, even though you all think he's a gooner. Yeah, so he's going to speak more logically about it because I'm talking from the heart. Terry's talking from his head because he don't support Arsenal.
Zane here says Martial was apparently a world-class talent, next Ballon d'Or winner. Rashford was supposed to be the next big thing. United fans have been living in wonderland. But see, Zane, this is where like I kind of feel like you agree with my point, though, Zane, same as Lee does, but we just look at it from different angles. They both had the talent to be as big and as good as their 17, 18-year-old selves promised. They just haven't done it. That doesn't mean that Garnancho isn't talented. Where I agree about overhyping him, though, is don't act like he's already done it. The pressure should be keep your feet on the ground, keep working hard. Like I even feel like in football, if they had a better way of incentivizing, like, all right, cool. In a year, say you keep scoring and assisting like this. In a year's time, we're going to give you a new deal. We're going to give you 200 grand a week, but 80% of it is deferred to your 25. You can't even touch it. You get like something that keeps them working hard and doing the right thing. But yeah, I hear where you're coming from, Zane. Oh my God, sounds like Terry welcoming unofficial pundit back. Well, the unofficial pundit's different. So the reason I stopped having the unofficial pundit on the terrace is you can criticize my opinions. You can criticize anyone who comes on the show's opinions. To a degree, you can even get a little bit personal. However, what I don't allow anybody to do is slag off the football terrace. If you slag off my platform, I won't ever allow you on it, because why would you want to be on a platform that you slag off? If you want to come on the platform and challenge me about it, that's very different. But if you're coming on regularly, thanking me to my face, but then behind the scenes saying bad things about the terrace, not me, but the terrace, you're done out here. I protect my YouTube channel more than I protect myself. Let's have a little look here. Lee is Andrew Tate of Football YouTube. Top G. Arsenal are more likely to finish third than win the league. City in the second half of the season are different, is what Zane says.
That's actually a great comment, right? Because I see this woman, I can't remember her name. She's got a YouTube channel. She runs around all around London going, do you know who Andrew Tate is? To these girls here. And they go, yeah, we don't like him. Oh, why don't you like him? Because he don't like women. All right, can you tell me something he said about women that like you thought he didn't like? Nobody can answer him, because guess what? They see a 10-second clip and make an opinion off of it. Yeah, how about go and watch a podcast that he's on and you'll hear what he says? And it's the same with me. People don't like what I say because they see a 10-second clip. Come and watch and listen to what I'm saying on a weekly basis. Like most people in the chat that do watch me, they will come back every single day because they like what I'm saying. They don't just take a little sound bite and put it all over Twitter. Oh, he's so toxic. Like, imagine how soft these people are, Terry. Yeah, that they don't like somebody's opinion. He's toxic, but then they come back and watch it every day. Well, no, you're a fan. Real talk. You're a fan. If you don't like somebody's opinion on football, on the club that you support as well, why would you keep watching it? You're a fan. Maybe I need to get new haters.
I honestly think if Arsenal go and buy Tielemans and Zaha or Trossard, we'll play Ben White as a CDM if Partey gets injured. They've got the same qualities, is what Craig believes there. Massive Man United supporter, and I enjoy and value Lee's perspective and banter. Appreciate you both. Keep up the heart. Good work, lads. Thank you, my friend. Thank you for those super chats. We act like 500k a week was a big deal for CR7. He took a huge pay cut to come to United. He was making 900k at Juve.
What a result. He done you all a favor then.
Yeah, I appreciate him a lot, bro. Tim, I understand your point, Tim. And listen, I actually understand where Ronaldo's coming from, that he's returned, he's disappointed, it isn't what he thought it was going to be. I completely get and understand that, Tim. And I'm not annoyed at 95% of the things I've heard so far. but you don't go for your own players and manager publicly. That's just a personal stance for me. If I'm unhappy with a member of my team and staff, I wouldn't come for them. The irony is this: if it was the other way around, people would say keep it behind closed doors. That isn't happening. So I'm going to keep the same energy for both. Terry, you put Arsenal again, bro. You do it all the time. Oh, did I spell Arsenal wrong? Yeah, as you all know,
you spelled my name wrong in one of the clips. You put 2 U's and 1 N.
Oh, sorry. It's my dyslexia. I'm very, very sorry. I don't see it. I apologize, people. Lee, if Arsenal win the league, would you, Kenny, and Jez sing North London Forever as a Do you know what? That's an amazing song. It's amazing.
Oh, it's amazing. Oh, isn't everything lovely? Ah. It's not Disney. It's not Disney, mate. I live in the real world, not Disneyland.
Lee Gunner is the only level-headed Arsenal fan in the same way Welbeck is better.
Do you know what's mad? Do you know what's mad? Is the amount of Arsenal fans that have cried about that is more than the Liverpool fans have cried about it. That kind of sums shit up, really, doesn't it? More Arsenal fans have cried about me saying that than Liverpool fans. I was sat with James Redmond yesterday backstage before we went live. We were talking about it, and he went, "One thing I like about you, at least you put an argument up for it, because you ain't just thrown that comment out there. At least you've backed it." Yeah. And he's a Liverpool fan, born and bred. Mad.
Chike here says, Terry, England ain't making it out of the group stage. How do you think England are going to do at the World Cup?
I hope we get embarrassed.
Why?
Am I toxic and negative?
That is. Do you hate yourself because you're English? Is that what it is? You hate yourself because you're English?
That's what it is, yeah.
You do?
Yeah. If you can't see what Southgate's doing, mate, you can F off to Wales.
Are you supporting... You said Argentina. Why Argentina?
Argentina, mate.
Why? Why not Spain,
FC.
where you live?
Messi FC.
Why not the Spanish?
I think they're the dark horses, to be fair, Spain. I think they've got... And people are laughing at that.
Since you had your tax problems, you run off your tax problems to Spain.
That's what it is, Terry. You know, that's what I'm hiding in Spain. Like I've said before, if I was hiding, nobody would find me, mate.
Yeah, he's hiding on Spain, but post the location, all the beach he was sunbathing on in the summer. Great way of hiding.
All the restaurants I was eating in, eating my octopus and all of that.
I think England will get to the quarterfinals, but then I think we'll come up against France, and it will be night Vienna.
I think we'll get out the group but I wouldn't be surprised if we didn't. I wouldn't be surprised if we got disgraced, mate. He's picked the same set of players that have fouled twice. Oh, but go have another go. Calvin Phillips has played 1 game. Why is he in the squad? He said he was picking players based on merit. Well, he's played 1 game. Harry Maguire, why are you in the squad? You've hardly played all season. And when you have, you've been pammed. Yeah, so why is he in there? And Jordan Pickford. Sorry, mate, why are you number 1? Ramsdale's been the best keeper in the league this season.
Hang on, you are not allowed to be positive about an Arsenal fan on an Arsenal player here, Lee. Don't ruin the facade.
Well, I've got to play character, haven't I, Terry? Yeah, I'll peel the mask off now. But this is the thing. It's like you're not picking players based on merit. You're picking players based off of previous, and that previous weren't good enough. So I hope they get embarrassed, ashamed, and he gets sacked. That'd be great. I'm supporting Argentina, so at least I'm going to see some good football. But to be honest, I won't even watch half of it, Terry. Last tournament I watched was boring. I watched the opening game of the Euros. That was crap. I then watched a couple of other games, and it was just like watching paint dry. It's boring, mate. It's not like when we were kids watching a World Cup, because you see these players week in, week out now. Yeah, whereas back then it was you only get to see the best players at the World Cup. Everything's diluted these days, isn't it? And it's like international football's crap. Yeah, I'll do the odd game here and there. Yeah, I'll be watching the game here and there. I ain't sitting down watching 4 games a day. Not for me.
Yeah, we'll be building up to the World Cup from tomorrow. It's crazy, really. The Ronaldo news has sort of taken us away from what the Terrace was planning to do this week, and I've had a little bit. Well, exactly, and I've had a little bit. Obviously, I've had a little bit of time off. I've still been making content, and we will be explaining that to the viewers tomorrow. What's kind of going on with me at the minute? I've been back to the hospital and doctors in the last 24 hours again with more complications. But I'm going to. I know a lot of you have been DMing me and messaging, and I want to be respectful, so I'll put something out tomorrow for you all to see that.
Can I read this comment very quickly? Big up to this guy in the chat. It says, your opinion is, like you said, an opinion. People can criticize just as you can do the same to them. I like listening to you, but you need to do some meditation. Bro, as soon as I come off of this stream, I'm chill, mate. Like, real talk. Yeah, this guy tries to trigger me every time I come on here.
Me or him?
Yeah.
Me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. It's a laugh. It's a laugh. It's fun. It's fun. Nice. This super chat here says CR7 wasn't even the best prospect at Sporting. You have to realize potential 100%. The other player is not playing, is playing in Moldova. I agree with you, Baz. And that's the thing. There's a difference between your talent being very good and what you go on to achieve. And we've seen multiple examples. If you go out and look for them, of players that at 17, 18 are meant to be the guy, the one that goes on to do things. Will they actually deliver? Who knows? This comment here says, this man has a YouTube channel saying he's a United fan. Yes, I am. And every effing day he's talking about Arsenal. Bomboclart. Is that meant to be what is that? Bomboclart. Bomboclart? Is that how you write it? Is that maybe that's how I spell it? I don't know. Just maybe the way I'm reading it wrong. Bomboclart.
I love the internet, sorry. It's hilarious.
Bomboclart, man, is an Arsenal fan blood. Well, the street way of writing blood isn't like that. There's a U in it, my friend. But like what I'm saying is, so that's how we wrote it on our school books at school. But like from my point of view, I do talk Arsenal quite a bit because the Football Terrace will focus on the trending topics and the trending conversations amongst the top 6 clubs. So Arsenal have been trending most Monday and Tuesdays and Wednesdays every single day this week. Therefore, every single day this season. Therefore, we talk about it. Imagine this is what I say to a lot of people that don't understand content creating. I had a chat with another youngster last night.
You're only doing it for the views, Terry. That's it. He
went to me. How do you know? Like, he goes, your videos do really well. He's like, how do you find these topics that work so well? And I said, mate, I hate to break it to you. I just talk about what's popular, as in the popular news. I said, what a lot of content creators get wrong, and I'm revealing a secret here, is you make content that you like, but you might be boring. And the things you want to talk about, no one else cares about. I make the content that people are speaking about and give opinions on it. Therefore, it's topical. No, everyone's Google searching certain things, looking for certain topics. If you're like, okay, today what's trending is Ronaldo's comments on Ten Hag and Arsenal to win the league, but you make a piece of content which is, I'm going to talk about the 2 most overrated 18-year-olds to ever play in the Premier League. No one gives a fuck, bruv. You might give the best breakdown ever, most in-depth knowledge, but if no one's looking for that content, no one's going to fucking watch it unless you are a content creator of such a supreme level that whatever you put out, you taking a dump would get some of these guys. And this is a compliment. If Mark Goldbridge made a video, Mark Goldbridge takes a poo, it would get 300,000 views. Like it would, because he's so
trending as well, because that's YouTube for you.
Yeah, but he's so powerful. He's so brilliant at what he does. He's got so many followers. But yeah, it kind of makes me strange. So yes, I do talk about Arsenal a lot because they're a trending topic.
Yeah, Terry, you know the audience, and you know what the stories are. Like Arsenal is on everyone's lips this season because we're top of the league. So Talk Sport, every media coverage or outlet is talking about Arsenal. So why wouldn't you talk about them? You're only doing it for the views. That's my job, and that's how I get paid. I love it when people say it to me. You're only saying this for the views. Well, hello, hello. This is what we do. This is like everything I say online about Arsenal, I say offline as well. Like if I bump into a football fan, this is what you think to Arteta. I'll tell him exactly what I say online.
Well, Georgia here says, plus for your audience. Yeah, of course, for my audience. Like I can see what my audience is looking at and doing. YouTube also helps you. YouTube tells you what people are looking for. To go, okay, well, sometimes I sit there and I plan a show. And I'm like, I'm going to do this. And then I go and check things out. I'm like, no one's looking for this. So I change tact and speak about something else. Like, imagine essentially being, I'm not a social commentator. I'm not football commentator has, people think John Motson. Like, you get social commentators that commentate on things that are happening socially, culturally, and politically. They don't pick on things that aren't trending, right? So if you're going to comment on sport, you imagine like your UFC, you react to UFC things. But on Sunday morning, what you decided to react to wasn't Pereira knocking out Adesanya. You were reacting to something that fucking, I don't know, Jose Aldo said in the podcast 3 days earlier. No one would watch the video. Like you have to. It's not even hard. But yeah, people want to slag me off for it. Slag me off for it.
Thanks for watching.
Yes, thank you. Appreciate it. Very quickly, this super chat here says, this one here says, there was a meme of arriving on the plane and Harry Kane talking to the pilot with the caption, "Keep the engine warm. We won't be here for long." Yeah, I've seen a few of them. I saw someone with a plane and it was by the short stay part of an airport car park, and they were like, that's the England's plane. If time, what's your guys' team of the season? Who'd you been your top 3 players of the season, just for time's sake?
Xhaka, Ben White, It's easy to put Haaland in there, but I'm going to go Botman.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I mean, I'm gonna go. Oh, it's hard because I don't want to leave any Arsenal players out because Arsenal have been so good. I'm gonna go with Haaland. I'm gonna put Xhaka in there, but I'm also gonna throw Almiron in. I think he just deserves it. That's top 3 so far. It will change. Team of the year. Did you see Alan Shearer's team of the year with like about 7 Newcastle players in it, and they're gonna have some, but I was like 7. They're third.
7. He's on a mad one.
They are, mate. They are. But look, viewers, I appreciate you all tuning in today and coming on and giving us your support. Thank you very, very much indeed. Obviously, there'll be some reactions coming to the Ronaldo interview that comes out in like 10 minutes time. I'm sure you're all eager to go and see it. Lee, always a pleasure to speak, my friend. But until next time, everybody, take care. Goodbye. God bless. And we'll see you all again very, very